Do you think you really know what happened in literature's most famous love story, Romeo and Juliet? Well, you'll be surprised to know that it's hardly anywhere close to a love story. Welcome to another episode of I Am Rich. My name is Jhanleigh Vivas, and today we'll be tackling and debunking some common misconceptions made by people who've misinterpreted the bard's writing. Starting at number 5, we have the common ideal that the story happened over the span of months. While this may come as a shock to most people, the story itself only happened over 4 whole days. This idea is usually accompanied by the fact that most people assume that our leads exchanged love letters back and forth over time. Verona does receive letters to Juliet as a common activity among tourists, but they hardly had time to talk and to play, much less address their love for each other in writing. On number 4, it's time to address the misconception that Juliet and Romeo were the same age in marriage. It may be true for the modern retelling starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, who were seemingly portraying characters just barely on the age of 17. But the plot thickens when you realize Juliet was only 13, while Romeo's age remains ambiguous, yet is speculated to be at 16 or much older. It was hardly uncommon for women to marry at a very young age at that time, but it still alters the meaning. The third misconception we have is the phrase, star-crossed lovers, means soulmates. This wouldn't be the first time a line by the bard has been misinterpreted, and it wouldn't be the last. But the phrase itself means that lovers are doomed by fate.
My only love sprung from my only hate.
Star-crossed lovers refers to a pair that would never achieve happiness. Second, we have a lot of lore surrounding the infamous balcony scene. The scene in Act 2 has become a staple of romance and art over the years, which is why it's impossible to think of it as a taunt rather than a proclamation. Juliet spends the entire scene denying Romeo satisfaction from her window, since balconies haven't even reached England around the time the play was written. She keeps teasing him even with arguably the most famous line in the play, which starts with,
"Oh Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?"
which translates to, "Why are you Romeo?" and not "where." Before we get to number 1, let's talk about some honorable mentions. Juliet Capulet was played by a man in early renditions of the play, and Romeo's exile was considered to be worse than death at that time. Ending at our most shocking one yet, Romeo and Juliet being a Shakespeare original is a mistake most people hardly realize they're making. The play itself is more of an English adaptation of a play by a poem by Dante Alighieri, published in 1320, which detailed 2 Italian families at war with one another. The bard also picked up writing from Arthur Brooke's poem, The Tragical History of Romeo and Juliet, which was released in 1562 and used as a key source in the play. Monaldi's and Flippecci's were the first iterations of the Montagues and Capulets, so it seems. First published in 1597, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet became one of the most popular plays of all time. The tragic story of the star-crossed lovers continues to entertain and inspire the people of today. Even now, hundreds of years after its initial release, its influence can definitely be seen in many other works, like 5 Feet Apart or The City of Bones. The trope remains a solid staple of pop culture as we know it. How about you? Do you agree with our list? Don't forget to tell us your opinions and follow our page for more episodes of I Am Rich. We hope that you learned something new, and we'll see you again very soon.